In October 1st, 2015, the U.S. cargo ship El Faro sailed straight into the path of Hurricane Joaquin, a Category 4 storm that unleashed catastrophic winds and waves. Just hours later, the vessel vanished beneath the turbulent waters of the Atlantic, claiming the lives of all 33 crew members on board. But how did this happen? What decisions led to such a devastating outcome? And what chilling details were uncovered in the investigation? Stay tuned as we delve into the tragic story of El Faro, a disaster that shocked the maritime world and revealed haunting truths about life at sea. Setting sail into uncertainty. El Faro, a 790-foot-long cargo ship, was a crucial lifeline in the trade route between Jacksonville, Florida, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. Regularly transporting goods like cars, trailers, and consumer goods, it played a significant role in connecting the mainland United States with Puerto Rico's economy. On September 29, 2015, the vessel departed Jacksonville with a crew of 33 aboard minus 28 Americans and 5 Polish workers tasked with maintaining the ship's engines. The crew, led by Captain Michael Davidson, was made up of experienced mariners who had spent years navigating challenging seas. Captain Davidson himself was regarded as a seasoned professional, having worked with the ship's owner, Maritime, for decades. Confidence was high as they left the port, and for the crew, it seemed like another routine voyage. However, as El Faro set out to sea, the weather forecast began to shift dramatically. Hurricane Joaquin, forming near the Bahamas, was rapidly intensifying. Within hours, the storm escalated into a powerful Category 4 hurricane, with sustained winds of over 140 mph and unpredictable movements. Meteorologists issued urgent warnings about Joaquin's erratic path, cautioning vessels in the region to steer clear. Despite these warnings, Captain Davidson chose to press forward, adhering to the ship's original course. The captain believed the El Faro would pass safely south of the hurricane's core, relying on outdated weather reports and his judgment to guide the ship through. Unbeknownst to the crew, Joaquin's trajectory had shifted, placing El Faro on a collision course with one of the most powerful storms of the year. As the ship continued its journey, concerns about the weather began to spread among the crew. Some questioned the decision to proceed, noting the ship's age and its vulnerabilities in severe weather. Built in 1975, El Faro was nearly 4 decades old and relied on an outdated design that made it less capable of handling extreme conditions. Yet, the crew trusted their captain's expertise and prepared to face what they thought would be just another rough passage through the Atlantic. The storm, however, was not something they could simply navigate around. As night fell on September 30th, the skies darkened and the winds began to pick up. The crew would soon find themselves in a situation far more dire than anyone had anticipated. To storm's wrath. By the morning of October 1st, El Faro was no longer skirting Hurricane Joaquin, it was directly in the storm's deadly grip. The hurricane had reached its peak as a powerful Category 4 system, with winds surpassing 140 mph and waves towering over 50 feet. The once calm Atlantic had transformed into a churning chaos, and El Faro was caught in the center of it all. Early communications from the ship painted a grim picture. The crew reported severe conditions, violent winds whipping across the deck, water flooding lower compartments, and cargo containers shifting dangerously as the ship struggled to maintain stability. But the situation took a catastrophic turn when El Faro lost propulsion. Without engine power, the massive vessel was left adrift, vulnerable to the relentless force of the hurricane. The crew fought valiantly to manage the situation. Emergency pumps were deployed to counteract the flooding, and attempts were made to restore power. Meanwhile, Captain Michael Davidson maintained contact with Maritime, relaying updates as the crisis deepened. Despite the chaos, his voice in distress calls was calm, seasoned by years of maritime experience, but tinged with the weight of their predicament. In one of his final transmissions, Captain Davidson uttered the chilling words, "We are in dire straits right now." He explained that the ship had taken on significant water, listing heavily as the storm continued to batter it. There was a quiet urgency in his tone, a balance between professionalism and the growing realization that they were running out of options. On board, the crew faced mounting terror. The roar of the storm, the groaning of the ship's metal structure under pressure, and the rising water created a scene of chaos and uncertainty. Life jackets were distributed, and lifeboats were readied, though in such extreme conditions, survival seemed increasingly unlikely. Then, as quickly as the messages had come, the communications went silent. The last known location of El Faro placed it near the eye of Hurricane Joaquin, a place few ships could withstand. Back onshore, Maritime and the U.S. Coast Guard were left to wonder what had become of the ship and its 33 crew members. The disappearance of El Faro marked the beginning of a desperate search effort, but for those on the ship, the The storm had already delivered its final, devastating blow. The search for answers. When El Faro failed to arrive in San Juan, a massive search operation was launched. Days later, debris and a damaged lifeboat were discovered, confirming the ship's tragic fate. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, began an in-depth investigation, raising critical questions about the captain's decision-making, weather forecasting, and the ship's condition. 1 year later, the ship's voyage data recorder, VDR, the maritime equivalent of a black box, was recovered from the ocean floor. The recordings painted a harrowing picture of the crew's final hours. Audio captured conversations of mounting concern, with some crew members questioning their ability to survive the storm. Despite their efforts, the vessel's structural vulnerabilities and lack of propulsion sealed its fate. The investigation revealed a series of chilling truths. El Faro had been built in the 1970s, and while it met safety standards, its aging design made it ill-equipped to handle a storm of Joaquin's magnitude. Moreover, Captain Davidson's decision to press on, despite numerous warnings, became a focal point of scrutiny. The tragedy led to sweeping changes in maritime safety protocols, including improved weather reporting and stricter regulations for older ships. Families of the crew continue to honor their loved ones, turning their grief into advocacy for safer surfing conditions at sea. So the sinking of El Faro is a haunting reminder of the unforgiving power of the sea and the critical importance of safety in maritime operations. 33 lives were lost, but their legacy lives on in the lessons learned from this preventable tragedy. But what do you think should have been done differently? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life maritime mysteries and tales from the deep.